Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 908.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to have some fun with a story from an entrepreneur. This person's headline really caught my attention, and I think we have something to learn from this person. The name of the article is How I Went from Flat Broke to Millionaire 5 Times. This is a very interesting article. I think that this person obviously didn't know the 6th step to wealth, which is protect your wealth, but he was very good at creating wealth. So he knows something about how to do that. And I think that would be very interesting for us to hear from an entrepreneurial perspective. So let's take a look at this article from entrepreneur.com written by Chris Esty. And it says, when you go broke or feel yourself failing financially, it's easy to beat yourself up over it. But something too many don't realize or remember is that failure is only temporary. It just means you still have more to learn and accomplish. I want to pause right there and say that's a great attitude, and I absolutely agree with that. Too many people are afraid to fail and don't even want to try. So I like his attitude of try, and if something doesn't work, try something different, and if that doesn't work, change it again. I really like that strategy. He goes on to say, with every business I started over the years and with each subsequent failure, I learned more and more ways not to fail. As a result, each successive venture grew bigger and faster than the one before it. My experience is proof that going broke is not the end of your story. If it was, my story would have ended several times over already. When you have a good idea, all you need to start your own business is to be willing to do whatever it takes, even when that means failing. Here are some of the lessons I learned going from flat broke to millionaire 5 times. Number 1, pay attention to the trends. Know what people want and find a way to give it to them. My first business endeavor was at a beauty trade show, selling nail products. Everyone started asking about the beads in the hair of one of the girls in our booth. At the time, it wasn't something we were selling, but I felt it right then and there. Those beads are hitting. Immediately, we went out and bought as many beads as possible, sat up all night packaging them, and the next day we sold out of everything. So we bought more beads and signed up for more trade shows, 12-hour shifts for days on end, counting beads in our booth, plus extra hours at night to prep for the next day, and we constantly sold out. It was exhausting but exhilarating, and another show was always coming up, so we drove on, counting out and packaging up yet more beads. It was hard work, but from the start, we saw the trend there, primed to take off. Over the next 8 years, we became the second largest manufacturer of hair goods, doing $2 to $3 million a year. We started with next to nothing and moved into the hair accessories business with little more than an inspiration. But what we lacked in capital, we made up for in knowing what people wanted and finding ways to get it to them. So I just want to pause there and say, that is a super smart strategy. You always want to give people what they want and listen to your customers. They are your best source of sales ideas. Number 2, he says, go for it, but go hard. When you get the feeling in your gut and spot that product or service that you know people want, making it happen requires a ton of hard work. This is how I grew a second multi-million-dollar company. After a slow start selling mineral makeup and cosmetics to beauty salons and beauty supply stores, an eye for trends again sparked rapid growth. In fashion, trends cycle about every 10 years. The demure 50s housewife, the psychedelic colors of the 60s, the girl next door look of the 70s, and the wild neons of the 80s. We were well into the natural no makeup cycle of the 90s, when Dennis Rodman shocked the world with blue nail polish on the basketball court. I still remember the impact of that message. Color is back. So, I went full throttle selling color. I worked 12 hours a day calling and emailing vendors, making and selling bold makeup colors. The more we grew, the more work we put into it. And by the biggest year, we were on target to do $20 million. Being willing to work our asses off harder than other people were willing to work gave us the better shot at success without missing the emerging trend. Number 3, see the opportunity of failing between success. When I lost everything again, I learned new ways to come back from it in order to grow my third multi-million-dollar company. Instead of waiting for some new expertise, I used the experience I had to navigate something new, real estate. After selling my house and buying a new one with a low down payment, I had enough left over to invest in another. Once I'd remodeled, refinanced, and leased, I made some money and I invested it in another. 3 years and at least 100 doors later, and the business had $30 million in real estate holdings and $10 million in equity. Sometimes being broke can be exactly the opportunity you need to take on another project. While I was broke once again, I met a woman who had spent 5 years struggling to grow her small skincare company, and with all my experience failing and succeeding in beauty and cosmetics, suggested I join her team. Within 2 years, I had built the business up to around $3 million in sales, my fourth multi-million-dollar company built from nothing. Number 4, keep income options open. No matter what you're selling, make sure you have a source of income to pay the bills. This is also how I went from being broke again to running my fifth multi-million-dollar company. In the beginning, we tried out several income sources, trade shows, some private labeling, and our own brands. But private label skincare quickly stood out as the best. While we stopped doing trade shows because they were the least profitable, we never relinquished anything if it was still bringing in money. As a rule, never give up stable, secure income for hoped-for income. Prove the model first, then go for it. Flea markets, swap markets, trade shows, a 9-to-5 in the meantime. You may have to spend 25 hours a day at it, but something needs to be bringing in an income. This way, the business money can be used as it should be, to build the business, and your personal money can stay personal. Run 2 or 3 different revenue streams simultaneously, and the one that most easily kicks in is the horse you ride the race on. Number 5, do whatever it takes. Working long hours is only half of doing whatever it takes. Reaching out and accepting help, even when we feel like failures, is another. When I started my most recent company, I was truly flat broke. Living in my mom's house at 50 years old, I had lost everything. My mom was on Social Security and had to lend me some money to feed my kids. Still, I kept working hard, knowing that all it would take was for one bright idea to hit, and I could figure out how to provide. When I got the initial $6,000 order that launched my most recent skincare company, I didn't have the money or factory to fulfill it, but I was confident I could put the pieces together to make it work. So, with half of the money, I bought from vendors and repackaged it into something new. It wasn't perfect, but this first order gave me the capital I needed to get off the ground, and it's been my greatest success story to date, with no end in sight. Take it from me, someone who has repeatedly succeeded and failed massively. Failure is never permanent. Whatever the reason for the failure, whether it's over a divorce, a shady partner, a legal issue, or a dumb mistake, that failure does not define you, nor does it mean that your story is over. It is simply a chance to learn so that you never fail the same way twice. Having failed as many times as I have, I've learned a lot, and that set me up for my biggest and best company yet. So long as you're willing to get back on that horse time after time and truly work your butt off, nothing can stand between you and incredible success. End of article. Well, I wish they had said what happened in each of those cases where he lost all of this money, because I thought for sure the real estate deal sounded pretty good and he was going to be able to hang on to his wealth in that case. But Anyway, we don't get that part of the story. He just tells us that there are failures, and so we have to go along with what he says. But I really like the fact that he is someone who can recognize opportunity, who can take a risk, a calculated risk, not a crazy risk, but a calculated risk, and who listens to what the audience wants and what trends might be, and then uses that information to deliver to people a good product. So I thought this was a very interesting article and something that was very honest, somebody sharing their failures rather than always hearing these success stories, which we love too, of course. But hearing this story really made me feel like this was a good message to be talking about, because a lot of people are down on their luck right now. A lot of people have had a difficult year. A lot of people have had their business go out of business perhaps. And so I wanted to give something that might give you some encouragement, might be what you needed to hear, might be that extra little positive boost to just tell yourself that you can do it. Because what I know is that more important than anything is your mindset about what you believe to be true. And if you believe that you can be successful and that you will be successful, then you will be successful. So get your mindset right, get it off the fear, quit fearing failure, and start expecting success. And that is going to get you there. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available so you never miss one of them. And all of my podcasts are over on my website at lindapjones.com/podcasts, including lots of podcasts about how to strengthen your mindset. So if you are wanting to have a more positive mindset, create more certainty, and overcome limiting beliefs and blocks, that's where you need to go, is over to lindapjones.com/podcasts. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.